Hello everyone, welcome to Halo Spotlight. My name's the Writing Spartan, and today we've got a very special guest, the home slice himself, Ascend Hyperion. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Thanks for joining me. So we've got some interesting questions lined up for you today. Some about YouTube, some about content creation in general. I know you've been very busy recently with getting your YouTube channel kind of the ball rolling with that and getting more frequent content out. So I appreciate you taking the time to hop in and come and have a chat.
No problem. It's a pleasure. It's really flattering. So I don't mind doing stuff like this.
I'm a personal fan of your content as well, so it's kind of like the fanboy in me is kind of a bit a bit excited, but um, yeah, I'll just jump right into the questions. So the first question I've got for you is, what made you decide to go full force with your YouTube channel again?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I don't know what happened, but around March 2020, I suddenly had a lot more free time.
Hmm.
And I can't quite tell you what it was.
Yeah.
Something to do with a global pandemic or something like that. But yeah, previously in 2019, I was really busy. I was working 35 hours a week, doing school full time.
Hmm.
I was kind of broken away from my YouTube because I didn't have the time for it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but luckily in 2020, I was given the advantage of having more free time, and I was able to return to my YouTube channel. So it was definitely having some freed up time. I was like, I better use it right.
Yeah. Free time is key to content creation, just in case anyone needs to know.
Yeah, there's only as much as you hope and pray. There's only 24 hours in the day.
Exactly, exactly. So that's mainly the key thing that kind of set you back off on track to your YouTube was just having a hell of a lot more free time then.
Yeah, I always had a plan for what I wanted to do with Ascend
Hmm.
Hyperion, and I just never had the time to do it. Now I finally have the time, so
Fair enough. Well, I'm glad you got that time because we've got some awesome content from it.
I'm happy someone else thinks so.
I think a lot of people think so. Um, Obviously the content you put out is content people want to watch, and it kind of leads on to my next question, which is there a particular reason that the content you put out seems to focus more on controversial topics within the Halo community, or more so topics that no one else has really talked about much
Yeah.
before?
Yeah, it's a funny thing because we talk about controversial Halo topic.
Well,
Halo is a video
yeah,
game, man.
yeah,
Like there should be that's the thing about me is that there should be no controversial topics. I
of
mean,
course,
at the end of the day, we should be able to have open dialogue and discussion about pretty much anything.
I
And I
agree.
think part of why I enjoy doing what I do so much is because it's like you said, so many content creators are just scared to talk
Hmm.
about certain things, and it leaves a hole in
Yeah.
the platform for discussion. I've got no problem filling that in. I get a good pleasure by coming in and taking this topic that people want to say is controversial, right? That it's like blacklisted, don't talk about this, and then
Hmm.
showing like, hey, there could be a conversation about this. It's not as extreme as XYZ has led you to believe. It's
That's
about
one
break.
thing. Go ahead, sorry.
No, you go ahead. That was pretty much it. Was what I
Yeah,
was
no, I
saying
was
there.
just gonna say that's one thing that I've really noticed with the Halo community. It's more often that there's a stigma to talk about something rather than that something actually being a problem. Um,
Yeah,
so like let's use an example of like Halo 3, for example. Halo 3 is kind of it's the hardest Halo to talk about in a conversation because there always seems to just be extremes on every side.
oh
Um,
sure.
so you'll find like a lot of content creators they just don't talk about it. But I feel like that's kind of just pushing the problem under the rug rather than addressing it. So it's nice, it's refreshing to see kind of a content creator taking those ballsy moves and going right. Let's take these subjects that people want to try and push under the rug and let's bring them to the forefront. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice.
Eh,
It's nice to see that.
That's a big thing with me, right? It's not like I don't go out and I'm like, man, people really love Halo Reach. I'm gonna destroy Halo Reach. Like that's never each in my eyes, each Halo game is subject to the same critique. It's subject to the same magnifying lens,
Hmm.
and they're all equally discussable. I
Yeah.
remember recently I did that video about how the Halo 3 BR can have negative impacts on the entirety of the sandbox.
Hmm.
And there were off comments like, "Oh man, Halo 3, why are you being mean to Halo 3? Oh, wow, you think you're being clever by talking about this." Like, dude, last month I made 4 videos picking apart funny things about Halo CE.
Hmm.
Uh, Seemingly nobody cared about that then. So yeah, there are people who take it personally, but the comments I enjoy the most are the ones where people are like, "Oh man, thanks for talking about this, because this is
Yeah,
something I've thought about," or I talked about this with a buddy and we thought no one else got it.
it's me
In
making those
reality,
comments, by the way.
yeah, yeah, that's a reoccurring trend. Is that in many ways what I'm saying on Ascend Hyperion often isn't something new. It's just
Mm.
something that the other guys, I guess, don't understand or don't want to talk about. And people enjoy finally having, they feel like, a voice. They feel like they have a bid in the fight. And that's a cool part for me.
Yeah, I feel like that's what one side of the argument has always needed is a voice to speak for them in a way as well, because Halo discussions, they can get very, very tiring very quickly, especially if there's kind of one side that doesn't want to listen to opinions and doesn't want to kind of take in any information. They have their set biases, they have their set favorites, and
Right.
they're kind of unwilling to move from that position. So it kind of leaves this weird space where the people on the other side of the fence who really want to have open discussions, they just feel even more pushed out because they feel like they're not going to get anywhere from having those discussions. So
Yeah.
it is nice. It's kind of allowing conversations between communities that haven't really been able to speak much about their favorite Halo games, um, which is nice. Yeah, it's nice. Anything that encourages the Halo community to speak more is always good in my book.
Yeah. Just play the stupid game. uh, on my on my uh on my 10,000 subscriber Q&A, at some
Mhm.
point they asked me a similar question, and my end response was, "Man, just play the stupid game." Like, we can talk about it, sure, right? We can talk about the nuances and the details, but at the end of the day, you either play the game or you don't. I feel like there's a lot of people, a lot of content creators especially, they do a
Mhm.
lot of talking, they don't do a lot of playing. So,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
at the end of the day, man, you gotta turn the stuff on, and that's how you're gonna really form your opinions.
Well, it's interesting you mention about content creators as well, because I find a lot of the content creators, especially the current ones, seem to more so make videos kind of that are linked to Halo rather than about Halo, if that makes sense. Like
Sure.
it's not really kind of any trying to think of the right word here. It's not really got any kind of base or
Substance.
substance. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really got much substance when it comes to actual Halo content. It's
I
more
know what you're
just
talking about.
yeah, yeah. It's more just kind of hopping around and throwing the word Halo in there.
Yeah.
And the thing that kills me the most is they're the content creators that get all the all the views, all the notoriety, but
Yeah.
there's not really any kind of objective thinking by the people who are watching those videos. I feel like the people who openly think and want to kind of have discussions, they stay away from those kind of videos in a
Yeah.
weird kind of way.
Well, I think a lot of creators, especially some of our larger ones in Halo, I think they've worked themselves into this spot where it's like you said, they don't make Halo videos. They make videos, like related to Halo. Or they're trying
Hmm.
to report on what's going on in Halo. They're not discussing Halo. And
Yeah.
a big thing people talk about is, "Oh, give them a break. There's a content drought." Content drought. I've been pumping out 4 videos every month, if not more, about the 20 years of Halo I've got
Hmm.
on the back burner. With all these things that could be discussed, and I think that's just a symptom of what some of these guys make. And I'm not saying that's, don't take it as me saying, "Oh, this version of content is bad and mine is best." What
Hmm.
I'm saying is that I think some of these guys are coming to the realization that the level of substance in what they're creating isn't that high, or it's
Yeah.
too reliant on forward thinking or trying to be the first person to say something. Um,
Well, that's
I think,
definitely something that comes up in the content creator community a lot. Is you'll see one subject, and you'll get 5 different videos from 5 different people. It's all the same video,
Yeah,
and it
'cause
doesn't have any substance.
they get one bit of Halo news, and then each guy's got a 20-minute video talking about what he thinks about it, and
Well, sometimes it doesn't even have to be news. Sometimes it's a rumor or speculation.
yeah.
Like for an example that I used just before we had this chat on Twitter while I was having a conversation with someone is Bonnie Ross put out that tweet of doesn't someone have an anniversary around then? And this speculation that the release for Halo Infinite, sorry, is gonna be November 15th, 2021. People are acting like that's been confirmed,
Yeah.
and I think this is one of the major problems with content creation is there's a very fine line between making content because you need the money and because you need the clicks and because you need to get people watching you, and the line of dishonesty that goes into clickbait or rumors or speculation. I think that's a line that's being greyed a little bit at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, and again, it comes down to substance. I feel like a lot of content creators rely more on themselves being the content rather than the content being what people watch, if that makes sense. So people are
Yeah.
coming back for personalities themselves rather than it really being anything related to Halo, which
And,
isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing.
that's a
Um,
it's a credit to the work they've done to
yeah.
build those loyal communities. I do think I've talked about this before. There's a lot of old blood in
Mm,
Halo content creation. There's definitely a wall to break through where people only want to watch creator X. They don't even know that creators A through F exist.
hmm. Yeah.
Um, and truthfully, creator X might not be, you know, the person dishing out content that they actually are looking for. They're
Hmm.
just used to clicking on that new video by that person. And it's cool that these people have built these really loyal communities that'll keep doing that for them. But I at least identified, part of why I make what I make is that I feel like there wasn't a lot of substantial Halo content being
Hmm.
created. And
Yeah.
that's not, I'm sure people will hear that or read that and take it as an insult. And if you do, man, I can't help that. I can't help how you feel. But I feel
Yeah.
like what I'm saying is fair.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say it if I thought I was being unfair. If I could identify that there was niches to fill in Halo content and then fill them, I impose that on anybody else. If I could
Hmm.
figure it out, you can figure it out.
Yeah. And I think
So
that's it's kind of social media has kind of ruined kind of critique as a whole as well.
yeah,
I feel like
everything's got to be an attack. It can't be
yeah,
an
yeah, you
observation or an assertion.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, you probably get this a lot, right? Considering the substance of some of your videos, they can
All,
be
all
quite
the
yeah,
all the time, people think I'm always on somebody's side or I'm trying to sell a message or a mindset, and
yeah.
I can't change what people think, but
Hmm.
all I can tell them is like, hey man, I've got plenty of Halo opinions. I can guarantee you when I go to make a video, they don't make it to that script.
Yeah.
I did a series of videos about Halo CE. I never said anything outwardly bad. I didn't down talk Halo CE at all in those videos. I hate
Hmm.
Halo CE. I do not like Halo CE. I do not like that game.
Hmm.
But you would have never gotten that from watching my videos. And
But
that's the point with
got it
Ascend
now.
Hyperion.
Get ready.
Yeah. Now people are gonna start reading like the subtext
No,
and laying
you'll
out
just
my
get that one
transcript.
bit quoted, and then that'll be all you get now.
But yeah, that's a big thing too. I think some content creators have become dependent on selling a mindset,
Hmm.
and they've become associated and representative of brands of Halo fan.
Yeah, of
Um,
100%. There's some that yeah, I see that a lot, and it's quite disheartening for me personally because I've been trying to connect the community for nearly 10 years this year actually, and to see kind of people who are meant to represent the community kind of making them cracks a little bit bigger and making those divides between communities a little bit wider. It's quite sad to see, really. Um, I don't think there's anything wrong with people having set content that they make. If you're a Halo 3 content creator and you only make that and that's what your fans like, fair enough.
yeah,
But I think sometimes there is kind of whether it's meant to happen or not, it does. There's just this divide being created uh, by content creators, or at least it's being made worse by some.
Yeah. A and, some of that might be intentional, some of it's not, but it's definitely palpable. It's
Yeah,
real at the end of the day.
it is. Yeah, and I feel like it sits on the shoulders of those content creators to kind of realize when that's happening, and if it's not intentional, to call it out and say like, "You are my fan base. Please don't engage this way."
Yeah.
But I suppose, if every content creator did that, then the internet would be a lot less spicy, and there wouldn't be as many, arguments on Twitter every day.
Well,
So
everything's gotta be an attack. Everything's gotta be a play on somebody else, right? So
I feel like that's only on one side of the fence, though, as well. I feel like, you've mentioned Halo Combat Evolved, and I feel like Halo Combat Evolved fans would be a lot lax than some other Halo fans about
well,
other titles, maybe with a 3 on the end. Um, if
yeah,
you were
there's
to make a video about that, for example.
well, so I have I have my ongoing series, The State of Halo, which is built on all this research I did on the Halo community from the thousands of responses I've gotten
It's not
on
good
my
enough. You didn't provide
different
the
servers.
receipts.
Yeah, what a that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
so
had you
everything's gotta be an attack to somebody. But yeah, it was fun to see, the different age groups and the different brands of Halo fans. They do have even to small measurable degrees, they have groupthink, that
Mhm,
I could identify that, man, if people there was definitely a correlation between Halo 3 is my preferred Halo and I really don't like Halo 4. Like, I could see the numbers in front of me.
yeah,
Um, and I never fronted any of that. This was a comment I got kinda regularly on that video. People were like, "Oh, why are you trying to make Halo 3 fans feel bad?" I was like, "I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad.
mhm,
I'm reporting the numbers as they came in, though, you know?
yeah,
If me telling you the majority of your little group thought, only veteran Halo fans should have, opinions on Halo, and if that hurts you, I don't know what to tell you, man, because that's how you guys voted. If you think me outlining how your group was the least accepting
yeah,
of changing gameplay mechanics, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's how you guys voted, and I just reported on it.
the
It's
thing that
not an
stuck out with that video for me, sorry to cut you
go
off,
go ahead.
um, was it just perfectly reflected my last 20 years in the Halo community. I feel like only people who willingly shut their eyes wouldn't have had the same experience. I know that's, I kind of don't really have a set Halo game that that's my favorite. So maybe I don't fit into those extreme groups of I only like Halo 4, I only like Halo 2, whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, like from just sitting on the sidelines of the Halo community for the last 20 years, the video was the same reflection of what I've experienced.
Yeah,
So
sometimes that's a hard pill to swallow for some people because they don't wanna, I think for a lot of people, what that video represents is a statement that says, "Hey, man, you're not the only group
yeah,
who feels a certain way about Halo, and
hmm
furthermore, you might have thought you were the majority. Ombre, nobody is the majority. There is no majority."
yeah, and
After 20 years and 6 main FPS titles, right? Nobody's calling the shots.
yeah,
Everybody is taking a chunk of that pie. And that was one of my questions at the end. I was like, "Who are you to decide whose opinion means more?" I was like, "I
mhm,
can't do that. I'd be
yeah,
in spite of myself to
yeah,
claim that." And there were people in the comments who tried to justify, "Oh, the greatest generation and oh, the game that sold them." Like people did not want to accept
mm,
that the right answer might be there is no right answer, and
yeah,
that how the game will just have to be played by ear. And I get it, people we live in a time where not getting an answer for something is unacceptable.
hmm
Not having a defined solution is obscene. And in my life, in my personal scope of reality, that's not too far fetched. There's some things that, the they're easily written, they're not easily executed. So
Well, it's the age-old thing of like fear of the unknown, right? People don't like to be kind of taken out of their comfort zone and kind of put in a place where maybe some opinions don't hold, you know,
yeah,
the weight they want them to. It's I think the Halo community, especially just as a whole, definitely has areas where certain groups think that their opinions matter than others. Um, whether it be about specific Halo games, modern, classic Halo, whatever you want it to be. That's always a common thing. But one thing that always seems to get brought up is that whatever group is talking about this issue, they will think that their group is the majority, and it's like you've said yourself,
yeah.
there isn't a majority, at least not in these groups. The majority is the Halo fans that just play Halo, and most Halo fans probably don't even engage in any Halo conversations because the normal gamer is not necessarily a hyper fan.
Right.
So
And it's not like the Halo community has set itself up to be very open armed over the past 10 years or so.
I think it's kind of gone in some ways. It's kind of it has gone that way, but it also has gone in the opposite direction. And again, it goes back to areas of the Halo community, right? I think some areas of the Halo community are far more open than they used to be, but I also think
Oh,
there's other
yeah.
areas of the community that are just kind of they're shut off to new people. Um,
Yeah, there's definitely cliques and there's niches. Um,
yeah,
but there are places that are fairly accepting and open-minded. Forge Hub is a great example where,
for sure.
forgers are just concerned about creating the best content by their means.
Yeah.
And the game that they want to do that on is of their choosing.
hmm
So
I mean, even within the Forge community, you're gonna have those clicks, and there's probably some Forge groups out there that think A is better than B, and that's just natural. There's nothing wrong with that, and I
yeah,
don't want to get across this kind of message that it is a bad thing to anyone who's listening, because it's good to have different groups and different opinions. I think it's just how those
it's
groups
how you act on those opinions.
yeah, it's how those groups kind of listen to each other and get on with each other that's the important part because it's no good closing yourself off and locking yourself in a bubble because you're never going to be able to move past that if you do that right. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with the Halo community this year with Halo Infinite. At least it's going to be big changes, I think.
It'll be something.
So, anyways, that was like a huge tangent.
That's fine.
um, we've kind of touched on this question already, but I'll ask it anyways. Um, Relating to the current Halo content creator or Halo YouTuber climate, how would you like it to change?
Uh, you know, the only thing I'd want to see more of is seeing the bigger names reach down and pull up.
hmm
Halo is, all things considered, a fairly small community,
hmm
and I think some of the larger creators always have constant opportunities to pull up and promote smaller creators. And when people hear that, I'm not saying you got to take the guy and tweet everything he does ever and put
Yeah.
him in every video of yours. No, that's not it. It's just simple stuff. Get him in your videos, play with them. Or watch their videos, share. Every now and again, share a video with somebody else. Uh, I mean, it's just that simple. I think there should
hmm
be better higher and lower level content creator relations, and there isn't. I think the highest level content creators are clicked up. I think they're most concerned with themselves and
hmm
each other. And whatever. If that's how the current crew of guys want to play, let them play. I can't change that. What I know is that as I climb the rungs of the ladder, I plan to bring people with me and to pay forward the good deeds that some content creators did to me, like Duquesne 23 and Forge Labs, were
hmm
essential characters in me establishing my YouTube channel. And they
Yeah.
didn't have to do that, but they did. So
hmm
as I grow, I'm always looking for opportunities to promote quality Halo content
hmm
on small levels.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point that you made, and it's very very noticeable. I'd say that the YouTuber Halo content side of thing is quite a closed off, quite a small bubble. Um, and it definitely would be nice to see more kind of small YouTubers or small content creators given that opportunity to kind of get a bit more, I suppose,
Yeah. And I'm not.
get seen a bit more.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a handout. I mean, don't pick a random guy, but if you see someone has quality content or
Hmm.
they're doing something worth watching, man, share that.
Yeah.
Cuz absolutely why not? There's small creators that I keep track of and I don't think they're there just yet. They're
Hmm.
working on it and I'll give them a word of encouragement every now and again. But when I get something good and it needs to be shared, I'll share it, man. No questions asked.
Yeah.
I'll just do it.
I suppose it's a bit of a hard place to be like a small time Halo YouTuber at the moment because the Halo community seems to go through these waves where everyone at the same time will get that wave of I want to try out content creation, and you'll have maybe like 15, 20 small Halo YouTubers start up around the same time, and
Yeah.
then a couple of months go by and you've maybe got like 5 or 6 left.
That's
um
just how it goes.
yeah, it is. I think it's just kind of weighing up, why it happens, and I suppose trying to encourage people to keep it going as well. But obviously, big content creators as well, they can't just reach out, like you said, to just random people. It has to be content that they're passionate about as well.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, kind of content creation. One thing I've always brought up in discussions with content creation is the fact that YouTube seems to rule the Halo community content creation scene.
No,
Um,
I have numbers on that too that I
yeah,
haven't shared yet, but I can tell you, yeah, YouTube is where it's at for Halo content.
and I feel like it's kind of been that way since Halo 4. Um, I know there was a like that. That's really when the big names started to become like video only kind of icons, and that kind of rolled over to Halo 5. And I feel like there's not really enough support for other platforms or other outlets. So you've got
Sure.
podcasts, and there's quite a lot of good Halo podcasts out there, and I think maybe they don't get the notoriety they deserve, um, just because YouTube is so hyper focused. And I don't know what the solution to that would be to kind of spread out, trying to help every platform because it's not realistically possible.
Yeah.
But I think maybe that's on 343 Industries themselves to try and shift
I don't know.
only promoting YouTubers. But
I don't think 343's got any control over Microsoft. None of them. None of
mm,
them control that stuff.
mm,
It comes down to the viewers. In that State of Halo study, one of my big survey topics was, where do you watch Halo content?
mhm.
Like 80 to 90% of respondents said YouTube.
Yeah.
Like I asked, hey, how, do you watch Halo content on YouTube? And 80 to 90% said often to very often, several times a week.
Mhm.
I asked them same for Twitch, and the majority of responses said once per month, if not ever. Like never. They never
Yeah.
watch Halo streams.
Mhm.
And that's a big thing. You look at some of those popular Halo streamers, they're pretty tiny, in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a change in how people view Halo content.
Mhm.
Not, I don't think an entity could enforce that. That's got to be like a culture shift in Halo fans.
Yeah, I do agree that obviously, like, an entity like 343 Industries, Microsoft, whatever, they couldn't just come in and say, right, we're promoting this more. But I think that there's definitely a kind of communication between like high level content creators and the company that's mainly just focused on YouTube. And I feel like, you've got the odd people in the community that stick out that don't do YouTube, um, that are like big names, but I don't know. I don't know what the change would have to be. It's probably not realistic to expect it from 343 or Xbox or whatever. It is probably something that the community is going to have to do, but I just don't know how it would get done, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
We'll
Uh,
wait and
that
see.
that'll be in one of my State of Halo videos. I talk about how people are digesting Halo content and what people
Hmm.
do with that is on them.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, you won't get Oh, you get attacking YouTubers.
Yeah, man. Ironically, here I am on YouTube attacking YouTube.
Imagine. Oh dear, the irony of it. Um. So yeah, we're talking about the stuff saying attacking based on this and that and the other. Kind of leads into the next question, which we have touched on a couple of times. But this is more specific to topics. Um, do you have any particular topics that you've avoided speaking about on YouTube due to the worry of backlash?
Truthfully, no. And that's probably what lands me in hot water with people all the time is that yeah, for me, every topic is fair game. I'm
Yeah.
as in my right to talk about something as somebody else.
Mhm.
So like Halo topics, no. If I want to make a video about something, I'll make it.
Yeah.
Now, there's more kind of like community topics that I subvert. I don't feel like we're having this conversation now, right, about the community and what we'd like to see and what we like to change.
Mhm.
Um, I have feelings about the community and I know things about community members that I haven't acted on because I know strategically I'm not a big enough creator to make
Mhm.
a play like I want to make yet. There's
Mhm.
this level of strategy to it.
Yeah.
I passed 11,000 subscribers a couple days ago. We're climbing up, but I feel like I'm going to need a much bigger following to kind of share some of the knowledge I have and share some of my ideas about the community.
Yeah.
Because that's, Ascend Hyperion's content is about breaking Halo down objectively and observing a topic. These types of videos would be about me, Ascend Hyperion, the person,
Yeah.
outwardly submitting, you know, my ideas, my observations. And to do that would be, a little bit in spite of what I normally do.
Yeah.
So I would want a backing behind that. But yeah, as far as Halo topics go, no, I've talked about all types of things that have made people really upset, and not I don't seek out things that make people mad.
Mhm.
People decide to get mad. I don't know why, but for me,
People love to get mad.
yeah, that's one of my favorite Twitter replies is why be informed when you can be angry.
And there's always an appropriate meme for that as well. So the internet
Yeah.
has us covered.
So no, and I think my viewers, my core viewers, the people who subscribe to Ascend Hyperion, especially now, that's what they're coming for. Cause they're like, oh man, finally someone is gonna talk about this thing. Uh and someone's gonna get upset, but who cares? Because finally we can have a conversation about it. So
I mean, I feel like with Halo, there's always gonna be someone that gets upset, regardless of
oh
what you say,
always.
anyways.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not worried about that. I can't change. I'm not liable for people's mindsets. I'm not responsible for changing how you carry yourself on the internet. I
mhm.
deliver my content. If you don't like it, don't watch it. You don't want to see me, block me. I don't know what to tell you. If you come to my video to comment something mean to me, you're just gonna get comment blocked because you
Yeah,
shouldn't have been here in the first place. So that's
people
just
have
how
too
I
much
roll.
free time if they're doing that, anyways. To be honest.
You would be surprised.
Well, I suppose it's a good job that I'm not making loads of YouTube videos just yet. Then.
Yeah, in the beginning, it kind of, when I first started taking off, it kind of got to me. I was like, man, I put a lot of work in this video and this topic and this idea, and often people's most negative replies are born from them either not watching the video or not understanding.
Mhm.
One of the instances that still kind of rubs me the wrong way is that Sean W went on Halo followers, I don't know, like early morning video or something like that, right?
Mhm.
And Halo follower had watched my video about the armor coatings in Halo Infinite, in which
Mhm.
my whole point is, hey, look, I don't know anything about the money part, so I'm not going to talk about it. What
Yeah.
I do talk about is this is how many armor coatings you would need to match the combinations. These are the combinations that we actually use. And
Mhm.
hey, this is the possibility of the armor coating system that nobody's talking about because we're too focused on the money thing.
Yeah.
Halo
Yeah.
follower in response tried to downplay my video by saying I didn't talk about money. That my whole video is pointless because I don't talk about money.
Mhm.
And Sean W goes on there and he's like, "Oh, I just skimmed it, but here's what I think." So he jumps on with him. And
Mhm.
that affronted me. And I was like, "Look, dude, don't talk about me or my video if you didn't watch it. All
Yeah.
right. If you don't know what you're talking about, just be quiet." I do that all the time. If I don't know about something, I just shut up.
Mhm.
It should be that simple. So it's stuff like that gets to me sometimes. But as I go on, I laugh at some of the comments where people, the ones that get me the most are the ones where someone says something to argue with me.
Mhm.
In reality, that is something I've already said in the video. That's a common trend with me. Is I'll talk about something and I'll be like, "So a common argument would be this," and you're not entirely wrong. Like I'm already putting your argument into my video, and then if you
Yeah.
throw that argument at me, it just shows me you couldn't make it to the 3-minute mark.
Mhm.
Even if you pressed play, I don't even know if you pressed play or not. So that's kind of funny, but that's kind of where I am right now.
I feel like a lot of kind of there's a lot of people who are dedicated to content creators rather than content,
Yeah,
and there's a fair few content creators in the Halo community at the moment whose content is very bad for the Halo community. Like health wise, it there's some content creators that only make videos that spread rumors, misinformation. That's their content. So I
yeah.
feel like the fans that would come from watching those kind of videos onto your videos maybe aren't that interested in knowing things anyways. Um,
No, they're definitely just there for a fight, and then they're
yeah.
not gonna get it from me, they're just gonna get comment blocked, and I'll thank them for the 5 cents they just made me by clicking.
There you go, 5 cents, everyone. Get the numbers out there. They've been revealed.
I actually don't think it's 5 cents. That'd be pretty I think
It's
if it's
probably
5
not on
cents per
YouTube.
video, that'd be pretty awesome, I think I'd be
Yeah,
reeling it in, 5 cents per click.
there'd be a lot more YouTubers if it was that much, I think. Oh dear. Well, good to know that you're not avoiding any Halo topics anyways. That leaves things exciting for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, if there's something to be talked about, chances are I'll get to it.
Awesome. Speaking of talking about things in your video, by the way, have you got a favorite thing that you've talked about in any of your videos, or a favorite
Oh,
video?
god, a favorite topic. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'd say a recent favorite is probably the BR video,
Mhm.
just because it's one of those, like, for me, it's like a wow moment. It's like, man, we didn't think about this. And Hollow Tide was commenting on my tweet, and he was going back and forth with me because he was saying, "Yeah, man, I queued up Auto Slayer for the first time basically ever, and now I can't stop playing it." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Dude, me either." That's how we got to this video.
Mhm.
So it's fun. It's things that change mindsets. I think a different favorite one of mine is probably the female Spartans video.
Admittedly, I haven't seen that one.
You haven't? So yeah,
I haven't.
it's a total gotcha. It was a
Yeah.
recommendation from my Discord server. Guys, basically, I was joking about how my channel doesn't have a sex appeal. We were
Mhm.
talking about YouTube analytics and what sells and thumbnails. And
Mhm.
I was like, "Yeah, I'm a Halo content creator. I'm a guy. I really got no way to pull the gamer demographic into my videos." And a guy was joking. He was like, "Well, what if you just started putting she's like, you should do a video breaking down the design of like Spartan butts." And we kind of laughed about it. And then I sat back in my chair and I was like, "Wait a second. This might be a workable topic." And
Yeah.
so I kind of pulled it. In many ways, I was inspired by Halo Canon. I think did a video. I think it was Halo Canon. I'm pretty sure did a video about the roles of gay people in the Halo narrative.
Mhm.
And what that revealed to me is something I already knew. The Halo franchise has been really good about just casually being progressive.
Yeah.
Nowadays when people are progressive, it can be forced. It can be
It is
overt.
kind of forced, I
They're
guess.
like, "Come check out my female protagonist," yeah, and whatever, power to that. But the Halo franchise since 2001 has just been doing that.
Yeah.
They've just had female soldiers. They've just had multiracial characters and army with no reference to it as being strange. So
Yeah.
then I got
Yeah.
to thinking about the character designs, and then I realized, I was like, man, in this climate where we're so concerned about whether or not we're over sexualizing women, or if we're deviating from fantasy and abandoning the capabilities of storytelling, the
Mhm.
Halo franchise found this balance between having accentuated feminine design, but keeping it reeled in.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Halo figured it out 10 years before the conversation was even being had. So that's what the female Spartan video was about. And it was a total gotcha. People in the comments were like, I came here for one thing, but I stayed for 10 minutes for another. And those comments were fun to me, where people were like, finally a cultured a cultured discussion.
Cultured Halo video at last.
Yeah, and it's a good introduction. You know, that video is my most popular video, and it's a
Mhm.
good introduction to Ascend Hyperion as content, as
Mhm.
to understanding what you're gonna get in an Ascend Hyperion video. I think it brought in a lot of people who were like, "Hey, man, if every video was like this be awesome." So that one I've got some love for.
That was a tip, was it, to put more of that in every single video from now on?
Yeah, yeah. Now my Discord server every now and again will be like, "So when's the next butt thumbnail?" And I'm like, "Probably never," because I can't. I can't just keep doing that. Yeah.
It does bring up an interesting point though, that I feel like a lot of things these days have become too much of a conversation to have a conversation about, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
everything has to be kind of a point. Everything has to have an over the top kind of narrative to it, rather
it's
than,
overt.
yeah, that's the one. Rather than it just be people talking about stuff. I feel like there was a game that just had quite a lot of uh, uproar called. Let me try and find the name of it.
It was some like Japanese game, right? Some
Uh,
cyberpunk ripoff
yeah,
thing.
yeah. It was by Top Hat Studios. Sense. It was a cyberpunk ghost story. Um, and people just flamed the hell out of that game. Um, just for the character design, and games like Bayonetta as well, for example, that got
Mm,
flamed because character design. The person who designed that was a woman, and yet people were still saying, "Oh, it's guys. This was made for guys by guys," and it's like,
yeah,
can't we just have a conversation about a character being able to look sexy or attractive without it needing to be slander, or without it needing to have an ulterior motive? I feel
yeah,
like I think that's the point I'm trying to make, is that people need to just be able to talk without having ulterior motives for everything.
yeah. And
But
I think, a big thing nowadays is the internet. The internet gives false perceptions of how many people are saying a certain thing. I think it's
absolutely,
easy. It's easy to believe that a bunch of people hate a certain thing if you click on a tweet and all you see is people saying yada yada. In
hmm,
reality, those people going yada yada might be the only people, you know,
yeah,
ever
yeah,
that are saying that. But because you finally get to see them in a collected density, it seems like a big problem.
hmm,
Uh, you know, I'm a big believer in don't like it, don't buy it. Uh,
yeah,
Especially if we're talking about casual, like, there's upper limits, right?
hmm,
There's certain topics that you don't joke about, that aren't gimmicky, topics that aren't for play.
yeah, of
Uh,
course,
but for a lot of things, especially gaming related, dude, if you like it, buy it. If you don't. I mean,
yeah,
it's that simple. And people they're too concerned with things that don't affect them.
hmm,
Do I think there's a problem in our society with over sexualization of women? Yeah, I do. I do firmly believe that for a long time we have imposed extremely harmful body standards on women.
hmm,
Um, does that mean I'm gonna be picket fencing every mobile game with big titty anime girls? No, because I'm an adult and I understand that the best thing I can do to counter what I feel are unfair body standards are to reassure the women and young girls in my life that they don't have to meet, you know, drawings benchmarks.
yeah.
Uh,
Which
you know,
which any sane person would realize anyways. Um, but most of these people that do these things probably aren't that sane anyway. So,
Well, even that, just some people. I think people get caught up. They get radicalized.
Mm,
They get highly associated with a certain issue. I'm a big believer that there's bigger issues in the world. There's racial inequality, there's violence, there's
mhm,
concentration camps in China.
mhm,
There's global warming. My background's in civil engineering. I'm concerned with the future. I'm
yeah,
concerned with big picture problems. I think on
mhm,
a stream once someone asked me, "Are traps gay?" Right, and I was like, "Dude, I don't know, but here's what I do know: if two consenting adults want to have sexual relations, I don't care. I don't
yeah,
care if they're men, women that used to be men that used to be women. It literally is of no concern to me.
yeah. That's their business.
Yeah, two consenting adults, whatever. It's
Mhm,
not my business. There's so many things that are like that, and of course, there's limits. Where we draw lines, But when it comes to stuff like this, man, if someone wants to play the big titty anime game, just shut up and let them.
mm, yeah. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. As someone who likes to play sad games.
I don't even like them. I think they're cheesy and weird, but that just means I don't play them.
Yeah,
It's just that simple.
cheesy and weird's literally how most people sum me up. So I'll take that. Um, well, I mean, that was another tangent. Not so much Halo related, um, but still as important and still as vital to talk about.
Yeah,
So I
sorry,
appreciate. I
I'm a
appreciate.
I'm a topic exploder.
No, no, it's nice. It's nice to expand on questions and actually have a chat. I always enjoy having these chats with people because it's less like I'm interviewing you, and it's more like we're just having a chat
Yeah,
over a
an actual
pint.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah, it is nice. It's nice to just talk on some stuff that isn't Halo related as well, because that's all I ever seem to talk about. I don't know about you, but
In my real life, never.
never. No.
Yeah, no, that's funny. It's a funny thing about me is that Ascend Hyperion is a secret identity for me.
Oh,
I don't.
really?
Yeah, my friends don't know that I'm Ascend Hyperion.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's kind of cool.
It's for my own sake. It's not
Yeah.
for. It's for my own mental
Mm.
deviations.
I can't say the same for the Ryan Spot and me. They've kind of they are one entity. I think that's just because a lot of what I've done is been very event based, so I've had to meet a lot of people face to face. So it kind of crosses over a bit more when I can't split up the two. Um, but yeah. Anyways, we're not talking about me. So we'll move back onto YouTube because that's kind of why we're here to talk about yourself and your YouTube content. Um, moving on to 2021, and well, we're in 2021, moving through 2021 uh, towards Halo Infinite's release. What are your goals for YouTube?
My goals, I'd say I'm looking pretty ambitious this year. I want to
Hmm.
hit 30,000 subscribers. That's kind
Hmm.
of my viewership goal. Um, I am bringing back machinima to my channel, but only one machinima. I only have
Hmm.
one major production planned for this year.
Yeah.
The details of which are still secret for the public.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm launching a new content series
Oh, nice.
that I'll be putting some information out about this weekend. Actually, coming very soon. Something I'm very excited to share with um, my current followers and potentially, I hope, new followers who'll be interested in it.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm looking like for 2021. There's other things on the horizon that I can't wait to talk about in the future.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but the goal at the end of the day is to keep delivering fresh baked Halo content.
Hey, that's what you get from the home slice.
That's what you get.
Awesome. Well, I know you mentioned this weekend. By the time this comes out, it's probably already out. So probably past this weekend. So,
Oh yeah.
um, yeah, check out Ascend Hyperion. Do you wanna let everyone know your
Yeah. You
different?
know, if you're looking for fresh baked Halo content, you can find me on YouTube at Ascend Hyperion, or you can type in Home Slice Halo. Either will get you to me. Look for the green cinder helmet. You can find me on Twitter at Ascend_Hyperion. If you type in Ascend Hyperion, chances are you're going to find me. I don't think you'll find anybody else.
Lester's an imposter. Ascend
Yeah, really.
Hyperion.
You can find me at those outlets. New uploads every week on my main YouTube channel, and complete BS on my Twitter all the time.
I can vouch for that. Well, there you go then. Be sure to check out Ascend Hyperion on all those channels. You will not regret the awesome Halo content that you'll see.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. That about sums up. So thanks everyone for listening. Hope you've enjoyed this Q&A with Ascend Hyperion. For more Halo community content, you can check out halospotlight.com. Alternatively, you can find us on Twitter. It's halos_spotlight. Don't get confused with our partnered Twitter account, which is halo_spotlight. A big thanks for them for helping out. You can find us on Facebook at Halo Spotlight. You can also find us on Instagram at Halo_spotlight. And across all of those outlets, you're going to find the most recent Halo community features. So be sure to check all those out. Until next time, everyone, thanks for listening, and goodbye.